This strap off.
Okay, welcome to the September 17th, 2025 meeting of the Executive Committee. My name is Sandy McKee and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez. This meeting is called to order at 6:35 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are joining virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom, and members of the public, we don't have any tonight, so we'll skip that part. CB6 Assistant Secretary, excuse me, Jerry Weinstein will take minutes tonight. We will now take attendance by roll call. Jesus, if you would conduct the roll call.
Good evening, everyone. When I call your name, please indicate that you are present. Neil Barkley.
Present.
Thank you. Stu Desser.
I'm present.
Thank you. Pete Dismond.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Plumowitz.
Hassan.
Hi, present. Hello.
Thank you. Justin Goldberg. I don't see in the room. Justin, are you online? Don't hear anything. We move on. Rupal Kakad.
Here.
Thank you. John Keller.
Present.
Thank you. Katie Landa.
Present.
Thank you. Anton Malner.
Here.
Thank you. Sandy McKee.
Here.
Thank you. Alec Militek.
Present.
Thank you. Steve Perez.
Present.
Thank you. Gabriel Turzo.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry Weinstein.
Present.
Thank you. 12 of 14 members duly present. We have quorum.
Okay, the agenda for tonight's meeting is reflected on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda. If you have any objection to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we are going to adopt the agenda. Next, we need to adopt the minutes. The minutes from the June 18th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object, please raise your hand. Saying no objections, minutes of the June 18th meeting are adopted and will be available on the CB6 website. Conduct, don't speak until you're granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question, please raise your hand and I will identify you. If you're not here in person, please raise your hand through Zoom. And it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching and those who watch this on Zoom after can understand what is being said. I had the opportunity to watch some of our previous meetings and oh my gosh, it can be really hard to tell what people are saying. Like sometimes you hear what's going on at the table. People are talking to each other and then you can't hear what the speaker's saying. So we need to tighten it up a little. And please don't use the chat unless it's for committee business, unless it's for business, committee business. Oh, it should not be used for committee business. Sorry, don't use chat. Tonight's agenda, chair's report. We still have lots going on in the district. I guess the FDR committee is still, it's not really a committee, but we still have a group that's looking at the FDR and we're going to rename it looking at the waterfront instead of reimagining the FDR. It's going to be reimagining the waterfront. We find that has a lot more purchase, and it really is. The FDR is the barrier, so we're trying to get around.
Is that committee made up solely of community board members, or is it community board members plus city agencies and members of the public?
It's so far it's solely community board members, and since it's not a real committee, we haven't been having full meetings. Mostly to try and help with people's schedules and other committee meetings. So it's more a task force, I guess.
Who is on the task force as of now?
Okay, sorry. We have Gabe and Maya and Justin, or Jason, I'm sorry. Jason and Barack And we met last 2 week ago. Before the meeting, and Kat was there and asked to join, and so she joined us, a new member. And also Majed, who's traveling right now, he's also been joining us. So at this point, I guess we could ask anybody who would like to participate to feel free to do so. We've been trying to meet before full board. About half an hour before full board.
What's the goal of the task force?
It's to reimagine the waterfront.
Okay,
Really,
broadly.
that's broadly how we can really unite with other community boards along the east side. So we've met with 11, we've presented to 8. We want to have a robust team of people looking at what we can do.
Is there a reason to do this as separate community boards as opposed to a multi-board?
We're really trying to get a multi-board group together, and it's difficult to do that because of timing. And with Community Board 8, they weren't sure which committee we should go to, because if they weren't sure if it was transportation or whether it was parks. And every community board is organized slightly differently, so that's more of the problem. And 3, it's just been we keep asking to present there. They have all the time to do it. Or the inclination, I guess. But and I guess the other thing that's going on that may not be that everybody on the board may not be aware of is there's the housing study that was part of the ULURP applications. And it's city planning was tasked with doing a housing study that's specific to our district. And they need our help in knowing what exactly it is we want as a district and how to go about doing that. So that that's members of both housing and land use and waterfront. So it's a pretty big ask of us, and it's going to be a lot of work, but hopefully we'll have something together by January that then city planning can start to respond to. And that maybe segues into budget requests. I don't know, Stephen, are you going to talk about the process? Because I think it's number 1 on our list last year was affordable housing.
It's been number 1 as long as I've been here.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that sparked this is trying to understand, other than saying we need affordable housing, what it actually is and how we're going to go about it. So it does come back to that. Borough board is tomorrow. Is there anything that anyone would like to have the approach borough board about that we could ask for our fellow committee boards? We always hear about cannabis. And how the rules keep changing and no one quite knows what they are. Anything else that might be of concern across? Okay, all right, if not, we'll move on. And now we will hear from Jesus Perez, our district manager.
Actually, I'll waive my report tonight, so you guys want me to say stuff. So,
Well, we keep talking about attendance. I don't know if people noticed, it was the full year of attendance was in the minutes. Hopefully everybody looked at that. I'm not sure everybody realized that, your votes are public, attendance is public, everybody sees. And I don't know if any committees have had any concerns. We're trying, because of the open meetings laws and quorum, we're really trying have people come in person. It's not always possible, but and this is nothing against you people who aren't here in person tonight, but just that it makes interaction much easier. It's much easier to read the room. And if people find, I don't know if you've found on committees that if someone is always on Zoom or really has an attendance problem, we can ask them if they want to go to a different committee. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes schedules change and actually many people have shifted around. this fall. Okay, sorry, Jesus, I took your,
No, I mean, I'll reiterate what you said, check out the minutes, the attendance chart looks different. Before, it used to be on a calendar year, January to December, we have heard from some folks, they prefer it be sort of the school year, which is sort of how our meetings work. So September through June, so we've done it that way, so that's the way it's gonna look from now on. You'll see now that it's a little bit, there's a legend on it, and it's color coded now. We try not to be super heavy handed about the attendance, but if you start having so many absences that you cross the threshold in the bylaws for potential removal for cause, you will be highlighted red. Your absences will be highlighted red. So those people, a handful of people have already met that threshold. And if they, most of them were not there at full board, so that's probably why. But, you will see that, those people that are listed red, it's because they've met the threshold for removal for cause. Obviously, that is not an automatic, you don't automatically get the boot. There's a process that has to go through, but, be careful with that stuff. One or two absences, life happens, is fine, but when it becomes, repetitive, then you start to get into danger.
I have a question about meeting minutes and committee meeting minutes, because on Monday, one of our new members of the committee volunteered to take minutes, and she asked when they would be needed. And so we said 2 weeks. Now, is that 2 weeks from the date of the committee, or is it 2 weeks from the day after the committee? Or is it still ambiguous, or is it?
it can be after the committee.
after the-
The open meetings law just says 2 weeks after the meeting, so if it's.
Okay.
The next day, you says when you start the clock, I don't think it matters,
Okay,
but,
and that's, we're now going to enforce that going forward.
We never enforce anything really, but, it's just encouraged.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have to take minutes for my job, and I find if I do it a day or two after, it's.
It's easier, yeah. Okay,
It's also most beneficial to get them done before the full board.
sure.
That's more important to me anyway than the 2 weeks. Is, if there's something that is going to be discussed at full board and people don't want to run through the whole video, the minutes can be a really useful
Good point.
tool.
Okay.
If they're done. That
And I know Stu's been very helpful at developing the template and just.
nice adjective, yeah.
So, it doesn't have to be he's so-and-so said,
Okay,
it's really the documenting what happened.
sure. Okay.
Okay, I think, we're ready to go on to committee agendas. And, we start with public safety and sanitary.
Honor, we're probably not going to meet in October, we're gonna, it lands on a holiday, it's hard to get people. And we're gonna use the time to try to collect some information. We made Rupel as invited, the possibility of a joint meeting, so might look at that when it comes up.
And I think I may have mentioned it before, but I still think it's an issue that's really pertinent for our district is local law 11. And we talked about maybe trying to have a public hearing. Because there are a lot of, 1960s buildings, 13, 14 stories. And they have a lot of difficulty going through the local law 11 process.
Well, we have a Parks and Preservation Committee. We also have Government Affairs. And it strikes me that we should, and this is a question to you, we should look at the preservation law and the way it's administered. Because it turns out that one of the reasons that we have this blight of scaffolding up so long is because of preservation. Preservation increases to some extent the cost of housing. It may negatively affect energy efficiency. It has a bunch of consequences, so it's a good law that may not be used very well.
Well, I bring up local law, and actually it's a little different, local law
It is,
11
but
versus
it's-
preservation.
There's an intersection.
And I bring up local law 11 because there are considerations of changing it right now. And it's something that's topical. And, maybe that's one aspect of it, but I think there are other things that also go into it. And it really is, it was done to make the streets safer. And it's not necessarily working, I think.
We're still waiting for DOE to come up with its proposition, right?
Yes, I don't think they've done anything, so we can make suggestions to,
Put it on my pad.
yeah. What would be a good, maybe some things that would help their proposition or at least spark it. Okay,
So Stu, probably not meet. Are we awaiting final determination? at
No,
some
we're
point?
going to say we're not meeting in October,
Okay.
unless we do a joint. So you can strike that. I sent Brendan a note earlier.
Yes, the probably was there. We're confused as to how definite it was.
Oh, I think I took, maybe I didn't.
Okay.
Hedging is always safer.
okay, transportation.
So I apologize to Brendan, who's been harassing me to approve this, and I have been ignoring his emails. I just wrote back. We need to cut this down because it's way too long. I'll go through how I'm proposing that we cut this down. The first couple of things I think are somewhat unavoidable. So we've got the MTA proposing a presentation on F and M train service changes. There was a pre-meeting on this. I forgot the details. It's somewhat of a major change worth discussing. We then have bus lane improvements between 60th and 52nd Street. They're trying to make that into an offset bus lane. It's currently curbside. We had a pre-meeting on this. I don't think this is going to generate a ton of discussion. Expect this to be fully supported. Or I'm trying to push off the shared street on 43rd Street. Believe they're just making updates on that very, very slow moving project to us. So I'm going to try to move that to November. Then we have a continued discussion about the loading zone. We heard from the management company of that space in our transportation meeting this month. We decided on coming back with a resolution conditionally asking for a loading zone should a grocery store sign a lease for that space. Little bit of a long story, but I'm planning to write a resolution and we'll plan to vote on it. And bring it up again in the meeting. And then 6 we should push off till November at least. And that should be all in quotes.
And Jason, you went to the, I'm gonna gap on it, but the meeting, the
The East,
East, yeah, what?
you got Public Realm Governing Group.
Public Realm, yeah, was there anything interesting?
The Pershing Plaza, pedestrian plazas, Pershing Plaza, yeah. They've fully opened over the summer. That's something that the group funded, and the bid is extremely happy and excited about. They talked about the 43rd Street shared street, basically just like it continues to be moving forward and is going to take forever. It's not going to be done until like 2026 sometime. And there's some new potential complications with it, so it's going to take a while. Lastly, the Park Avenue median this redesign project the DC and DOT have selected a landscape architect for it. And they are finalizing the contract. That will also take a lot longer than you would think this whole thing will take. The next steps are to start to gather, once the contracts are finalized, they will be getting feedback from the governing group, the community boards, people in the community. So that's a little bit exciting. That'll start to come through in terms of getting feedback on what those medians should look like.
Okay, and you know, we have a place on this because it's actually called, I think it's called the Public Realm Governing Group, is that right? That's what Fred's,
From
yeah,
what I can tell.
but the, you know, through the Midtown rezoning, the transportation dollars that they get from building. Anyway, this group oversees how it's spent. And it's our,
$50 million or something in their bank account. So there's a lot of money there, but it's also like heavily restricted on terms of what it could be used for. That.
and 50 million doesn't go that far.
Also that, yes.
Okay, thank you. Next we have parks.
Barclay request.
Yeah, so Jason, just a quick question. When is the projected end date for the Park Avenue project? Like when should it be completed?
7, if not longer. I think 2027, I think might have been the date. It was many years out. The design process alone was going to take, I think, over a year, and then that doesn't even, I don't think they haven't even bid out the construction phase of it. So it's going to take a surprising or unsurprisingly long time.
Thanks.
Yes.
Jason, just to be clear, you'd like us to ask DDC if they would be willing to come with their 43rd Street presentation to your November meeting, right?
Correct. And I emailed Brenton this as well, but yes,
Okay. And we're moving the super speeder thing to November.
correct.
Okay, if DDC pushes back, how adamant are you on this?
Pretty adamant.
Okay,
They really need to come. We can fit it in.
okay.
I'm
Thanks.
surprised that they really were that upset, given how long that project still has to go. It's not like they're rounding the corner or anything on it.
Okay, and you got that co-naming request that Brendan sent you. I don't think it's pressing, but we just want to know you got it.
I did get it. I definitely do not want to do it for October. We could, we'll discuss, I think, well, we will put them on the agenda. We'll plan to do them in November.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, Neil, you're on Parks, Landmarks and Cultural Affairs. You're up.
Okay. Yes, first up, we would just have the Parks and Recreation, the report from Sheena Kaufman, as we do every month. After that, we will discuss, let me just see, because I have it here. Yeah, we will discuss a standard application for work on landmark properties. This is, of course, with the Landmarks Preservation Commission. And this would be for the address 126 and 128 East 36th Street. It's the Murray Hill Wee Winds Club. So there will be a presentation on that. And then chair's report for the new business, and that's it.
Okay, health and environment.
Yeah, so the thing Stu alluded to was possibly a joint meeting is gonna be a presentation from the Be Heard group, which is here. So basically what they do is get when you call a 911, when you make a 911 call and it's deemed to be more of a mental health rather than an actual like 911, what they're gonna do is send a mental health, like somebody from H&H or some, you know, a qualified person to deal with that mental health situation with the response team instead of just having the NYPD or something like that, right? So to have that an actual professional who might be better able to resolve that situation. It's been going on since I think 2021, and so they've been slowly expanding, so we just wanna hear more about it and see if we can try to have them expand into our district as well, basically. So, I've emailed them, and depending on when we can, either October or November, Stu said he's open to, or he's open to doing a joint meeting, so we might be doing a joint meeting with them, on that. After that, we're gonna continue to discuss the Support Act, which is, I think it's already on, Governor Hickman's desk. I don't believe she signed it yet, so, yeah. And then, so one of the constituents emailed the office about, Kratom, which I personally had never heard of until Brendan forwarded me that email. But it's basically, we're gonna discuss it. It's essentially like derived from a plant that's native in Indonesia and some other countries. But basically, the way it's sold now or here is very processed and very concentrated form, which is very addictive. And it's used for for painkillers as a painkiller or anxiety and a couple of other things, but there have been a few deaths from it, and given that, you know, we've had this opioid addiction problem, the constituent emailed saying, well, hey, this is being sold all over our district. So, yeah, so we're just gonna so there, apparently Brendan also found a bunch of bills that are in the legislation, so we're like, okay, we can discuss it and see where we go from there, what we wanna do we wanna support any of the bills, or we're just gonna start the discussion on it. And, yeah, that's gonna be our October agenda.
Does this sort of fall in the same category as ecstasy, or right now it's an available drug that? It's not
So,
legal?
yeah, so there's no regulation on it as far as like the basic research I did. New York State it's not illegal, but there's no regulation either. So when the stores are selling it, they're not breaking the law. Right? They're not doing anything illegal. So we can't really just go out, like, it's a small business that is just selling something that, as far as New York State is concerned, is a legal product. But there are some bills in the legislation in the New York State that is looking at, maybe we want to regulate it. What do we want to, like, you know, all various things. I haven't gone through all the bills that are there, but there is some, like, it's being worked, like they're
Sounds like
talking
they're
about
just
it in
thinking
legislation.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, so that's what it is.
Right.
Like I said, I'd never heard of Kratom until Brendan forwarded me that email, so, yeah.
So where do you buy it?
It's sold at all, like everywhere. The one particular store they mentioned, I don't wanna single out
Oh,
a
okay,
small
yeah.
business, but
Yeah.
it's being sold at any delis, bodegas,
Oh,
everywhere.
Great.
Yeah, because they're not doing anything illegal, so I don't wanna single
Yeah,
out
yeah,
an
no,
official
I
business.
understand.
Yeah.
And Rupal, as for Senate Bill S 1744, it has been passed by the Senate and by the Assembly and has not been delivered to the governor yet, so.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys gonna still talk about that? Are we gonna watch it, see?
I think we'll watch it and see, so maybe not that one, but
Okay.
October, yeah, because it's already been passed by both. Let's see what Governor Hochul does before we, I guess, jump in.
Okay.
Withheld.
Okay. Budget and governmental affairs. I think we're done with, I heard.
Okay, so yes, we have our budget hearing this month. It's a special meeting September 30th because we need to pass the budget. We have to pass the budget requests in our committee so it can be passed in full board in October, so that it's due by the end of the month to the city. So I did want to talk just a little bit. There's a couple of things I want to input on from the committee. One, so over the summer, I had emailed all of you with your budget requests, and so with some detailed comments, suggestions, questions about some of the budget requests that have been on the air table since last year. I do have a couple of more general observations about budget requests after having gone through that process. One is, and I wanted input from all of you, One is that some of the budget requests do appear to be rather vague. And we have submitted them year after year and get kind of a blasé response in return. My question is, and some of you I've talked to individually about different budget requests, but should the budget committee be, if there's a request that's especially vague, should the budget committee be deprioritizing that request or removing it entirely? Because some of them aren't even really budget requests. And I think part of the confusion here is that some of them are simply a statement of needs, which is fine. There's also a statement of needs section.
Yeah.
That's a narrative, and we can say this is a need, blah, blah. But then that kind of morphs into, oh, here's our budget request, but it's really just stating what the need is without, and the problem is, if you're not submitting a release, because just remember that these budget requests are for this fiscal year.
Yeah.
It's not simply to say, we have a need of X and Y and Z. It's to say we are submitting a budget request for this fiscal year 27 coming. So when we submit something very vague, then the agency really doesn't know how to respond to that. And so my question is, should we simply be prioritizing those? Should we take them off? So.
I have an opinion, but I think you should be empowered to take them off. If it's vague and you don't know what it is, then the agency's not. You know, and I would also say that maybe chairs should make sure they go to the meeting. And if it's something that you really feel is important and you can make it less vague at the meeting, or, you know, explain why it needs to be there, then that's great.
I mean, so here's the most controversial one. It's our top.
Affordable housing.
Yes, it basically says we need affordable housing.
Well, we actually have a very specific need. We need the city planning commission to fund and prepare the special report that we're asking for. What they've told us is they can't do it because they're too busy.
So that is a very specific request, but that's not.
No,
what's in
it's not in there.
So I can go and make that thing,
May I ask,
some homework.
could we ask them, if you haven't, to break down what staff commitment such a project would require? Is it 3 people? Is it blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
You know,
That's a good
because we're
question.
gonna have an incoming fellow and just wondering, you know, to kind of put meat on the bone and make the ask more tactile.
Well, I think they get the ask because it's
Mm,
the real deal, put it in the newspaper. But, I mean, we can always ask, but, right, yeah. Just ask what resources would be required to do that, okay,
They don't have the staff to figure that out.
yeah.
chicken, egg.
They probably could answer.
Quickly.
Jason.
Oh, Jason, sorry.
Um,
Go ahead.
I support removing the budget committee removing stuff. We've had some challenges removing things from transportation for interpersonal political reasons. So I would support you guys taking a heavier hand than just taking things off. That's fine with me.
Would you agree?
I think that makes sense, yeah.
Wants to make us the bad guy.
Yes, exactly. Feel free to be the bad guy. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Going with the weed whacker, and get rid of things.
It's not a Christmas list. I mean, just because it's been there for 20 fiscal years, doesn't mean Santa will bring it.
Yeah. And you're also looking for an update to the basis of the request? Is there something besides saying we want this? Are you looking for more input besides what's there already?
Well, it depends. I mean, I've already emailed all the committee members with specific questions, if there were any. Some of them are fine, some of them are simply, you know, the agency says we don't have the resources, please resubmit the request. Okay, so that's fine, we'll submit it. But the other observation that I had about these requests is, I went through all of them again. The FY 27 request, every single one of them is verbatim the exact same thing we submitted for FY 26. So either committees aren't really advancing things during the year to make any progress on the requests, or they are, but they haven't updated the narratives to say that there was any progress. So I'm just concerned that like we keep submitting like the exact, I mean, there's not even an apostrophe or period that has changed from FY 26 to FY 27 in any of the budget requests. So.
And I know this also, oh, B has her hand up, please, B.
Yeah, so having sat on the committee and read most of these things, it's a real problem to ask a city agency to come up with specificity when we're not specific. And
Yeah.
so we really do need to narrow it, because those areas that we were specific, we got fairly decent responses from the agency. And my other comment is, no city agency is going to tell us how much resources they need. That's part of their internal budgeting. So if that's what we're asking, we know we're not going to get a response. So I think, Sandy, your comments about the chair having the responsibility to delete things that are very general is the direction that we should take.
The fall of wiping the slate clean every year and starting from scratch, because I realized that I was feeling pressure to come up with budget requests that, you know, we hadn't been inspired in the
To
first
ask
place
for,
to ask for. You know, money is scarce.
Yeah.
And, you know, if the community board, if your committee is going to concentrate the requests on those that are really vital, that would help everyone. It would make those requests that we really want, more viable. So, you know, I don't think we should ever automatically carry a request over from the prior year.
Are there written guidelines for the budget requests?
We have developed a guidance document, which we have circulated in the past. We can circulate it again.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that as
Yeah,
chair.
and then I'm also gonna be looking at that again and seeing, are there things that we need to update in that guidance as we look forward to this year's next cycle of budget requests.
And we do have some new requests.
Yeah, there are new ones.
There are new ones.
I submitted 2 new requests, yeah.
So this is referring to the
Yeah.
ones that were there,
Yeah.
not there's like 4 new requests.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I tried to be specific in the 2.
the new ones are very.
The 2
actually
new
much-
ones, I tried to be specific.
The new requests are much better than
Yeah.
the ones that have kind of been on there forever.
And I know there's always a discussion of, you know, for instance, we now have the space at 34th Street and the FDR. And that we've been asking for a new park space, such as, how do we now have to update that to say we want funding to make it our, you know, community facility versus just. And maybe that's not a good example, but quite often we say, well, it's not completely done yet, so we just keep it on the list. So is there a way we should be revising?
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion is just simply state the progress that's been made. If there has been, then you update it slightly. You can keep it on there if it's not done.
And
And
then,
then if it's something that is fully funded, we move it to continuing support.
Support.
So it gets moved down to, so we keep track of it because it's an active project. We don't want to lose sight of, but it just gets recategorized.
so for instance, 34th Street and the Water Club are both separate requests on the list, shows what okay,
But that's a good example, though, the 34th Street one, that one really does need to change, because
Yeah.
we have the space now. I'm inclined to say, since we have the space, remove it, let's see what EDC and parks can come up with. Cause an 11,000-foot space, I don't know how much of a park that's really gonna make, but then we sort of, for the one after that, then we can sort of see, okay, what we think we're gonna realistically get, what might actually be feasible there. And then go from there, because we can chalk this up to, we got it, you know. That's what I would recommend.
okay, so that's, fortunately, that's yours. Okay,
But that's.
So that's, yeah, I mean, that committee still has their meeting, so that committee hasn't met yet,
So-
and they're gonna meet before our meeting,
Okay.
so.
But for those who don't know, Sandy, you should tell them what, what this space is. I mean, this is a big thing.
oh, yeah, I mean, we mentioned it at full board, but it's been something this board has been working on for a long time. And, past chairs have devoted huge amount of energy into getting that space. So if you happen to be on the river, it's incredible because they had stacked parking and it's gone. You can walk up to the edge of the river and look over.
I need to go down there.
It's pretty amazing and shocking that it actually happened. So it's all good. And apparently they're coming in October.
Oh,
Who's that?
for,
Sorry, it's the EDC that is the one that's now in charge of it. And it was part of the Spark and I guess it was really the Spark Euler that got it to happen.
CB6 many
Oh.
years ago, this has been a priority, as Sandy said, for CB6 for many, many years.
Mhm.
And at some point, we started doing a bit of research and trying to figure out how strong a hold this parking lot really had on the space. And we found the contract and everything. They were getting it for a steal, pennies on the square foot. And we kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. They didn't want to give it up. Agency after agency call after agency call. And thankfully for our council member Powers, he got us over the finish line with using this for in throwing it into the Spark points of agreement. So now all of this is gone. So this is 11,000 square foot of prime waterfront space that was being used for private parking. It is no longer being used that way. It is city property returned to the people. Because
Yeah.
CB6 kept pushing, our council members worked with us, regardless of what you may hear out there, we did this. Our council members did this.
Yeah.
EDC, Parks did this. This is city government doing what it's supposed to do, making lives better for the residents of community districts.
Yeah. So EDC and Parks worked very together to get this done. So Jason, sorry, you have your hand raised?
Neil go first because he preempted me.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, Sandy, can you just keep me updated on that date in October with the EDC at the
Yeah,
location?
It'll be at land use.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Geez.
Yeah, sorry if we're going into the weeds on that space. I ran by it last night and it's stark and like it's so much, it looks from the street view, and when there were cars there, it didn't look that big, but like as an empty space, it's actually like it feels like quite a large space. I was pleasantly surprised that it was actually empty. When I was preparing to approach it in my head, I was thinking that surely people have decided to just park there illegally. And I was that actually had not happened. But I am worried about that ultimately happening as it sits empty. I suspect cars will find a way to fill the space. So I would hope that something could potentially be done in the short term to prevent that from happening.
And well, that's why they're coming in October. I was surprised they're doing it so quickly.
I'm just
Like
worried
all-
that like in the short term, it will just be
Yeah,
or
pickleball.
There.
Apparently at Water Club, somebody's laid out pickleball, which is not a bad idea.
that's good.
It keeps it active. So,
I just have one more thing, one more suggestion as I was thinking about the budget process again is. It's not quite clear to me why the budget committee does that. It seems to like it would make more sense for the executive committee to do the prioritization, because here we have all of the leadership of everybody who knows what all of these requests are and should be the group to naturally would be the ones to know. So oftentimes in budget, we don't even necessarily have anyone from that even was even there on the committee when something was put forward, and so we're just kind of like trying to guess what some of these things are. I mean, hopefully as big requests get narrowed and maybe we end up not having that issue so much, but in the past, it was a real struggle.
Yeah.
To have the budget committee say, we're prioritizing the whole CV6s when we don't even know what these things are.
Well, I would say that I think one of the, excuse me, one of the reasons that it's your committee is because you know how it works. Others kind of feed this into you. And we do vote on it at full board. So there's certainly the opportunity. I mean, I'm not sure anybody's ever asked for anything to be changed, but there is the opportunity to do that.
People have thrown in like requests literally at full board in October, that's not
Yeah.
ideal, but no one's ever really said, oh, move this around. I think what I would offer is that if this were the kind of thing where you give the city your list and you are likely to get back most of what you asked for, I think the prioritization would probably weigh a lot more. This 34th Street thing, you have to scratch and bite and crawl and, you know, fight for every little thing. So in a way, we prioritize them all over again by what we, you know, put before the agencies when we have them in front of us. So I personally wouldn't worry so much about the, you know, the ordering, just do your best and then.
I've actually heard at Borough Board that it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's and not so much about how things end up in the ranking, but like. Having the budget committee, which is made up of people who don't even necessarily know what things. You know, it's just like the discussion itself tends to be a little bit like, does anyone know what this is? Why is this on here? And
But also,
nobody knows.
it's another set of eyes that can go through this, like, why do we need this? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, as we pointed out, some committees. Through historic, whatever, have things that just don't make sense.
And if you guys looking at it, I'm sorry, if you guys looking at it don't know what they are, imagine these agencies, so that's the problem with the request,
Right.
not, you know.
Right, but that's why this has been super helpful to me to get everyone's input on this, so that I know how to conduct. The meeting on budget hearing on September 30th. So we'll have a mandate essentially to do
yeah.
more with these requests. And we've always been like, oh no, with the committee put this, we can't. You know, we can just move them around, but we can't do anything, you know, that's kind of how we've approached it in the past.
So, as a new chair as well, along with you, when we were discussing our budget request at the last meeting, one of the things Marty mentioned, which kind of didn't even occur to me, was like when your committee discusses it, it used to be that the chair of each committee would attend that meeting, so that way they can advocate for their requests. No, like, it seems like a simple, obvious thing, but until Marty said it, it like, I don't know, I didn't even think about it, so I have it marked on my calendar, so I might attend on Zoom, but I'll be there.
But
At
that's the
least
point, you
for-
don't need to advocate,
Yeah.
just have a good request.
Yeah.
You don't need to advocate, you really don't. As long as makes sense to you, it makes sense to the committee, it's gonna make sense. You know. It's not a fight.
Right, because we have space,
Yeah,
we're not gonna remove things that,
yeah.
Yeah,
just because there's no room. Like,
yeah,
It
really,
makes sense
you
to
don't,
keep
I
it.
mean, it's
Okay.
good to attend,
Yeah.
because you'll see how it works, but. You
Okay.
don't need to wear gloves.
Okay.
Okay.
Once you get to the agencies, then you do.
Then you wear
Yeah.
gloves, yeah. Okay, housing and homes.
So we have to find a new date for October because it falls on Diwali. So I proposed a few dates for the members of the committee. It's probably gonna be canceled. We haven't had enough advice from members of the committee to confirm a date. Furthermore, there aren't really any pressing items on our tentative October agenda that would require us to have a meeting. So it's probably gonna be canceled. But on our committee meeting this past Monday, I kind of informally polled committee members for topics that they would like to discuss for this fall and winter. It ranges from housing policy to homelessness to affordable housing. So I think the plan for committees throughout the fall and winter will be to try to bring in people who can speak to some of these issues. And I was working on that a little bit over the summer. Stu and I had a couple conversations about some homeless advocates. So I'm gonna continue working on that and with the intention of having some guest speakers this fall. But if we were to have an October committee meeting, it would be to discuss those issues and those topics that we would like. As well as some potential housing data updates related to the housing survey that we've been working on for a while, or even one a little bit more granular on our community district level. And that would be it, but that's, as I mentioned, it's not pressing.
Are you still working on putting together a survey though, or at least some document that reflects our district?
Yeah, so generally the big one that we've been working on for about a year is now going to expand and include other community boards, or at least we're trying. Sandra, Sandy and I over the summer met with a couple of community boards who demonstrated interest in that. And so that's something that we're gonna continue working on, but I think in the meantime, what I will do with perhaps other members of the committee is to come up with one that's a little bit more granular and focused on our community district to synthesize publicly available data at a high level, so that way it's something that we can have on paper going forward while we continue working on a much larger, more detailed report with perhaps other community boards in Manhattan.
Because again, this is something for the budget request, we're looking for some specific data for our district and what we want, and
Right,
as I said, we need to toss it money,
yeah.
so, okay.
And if we have a really large one, I think it's great for the city and it's great for the borough and it's great for our community, but I think a really honed in one on our district would be really great too.
Thank you. Land use and waterfront.
Okay, so we had a number of material changes to our budget requests over the last couple months. So we're gonna have to add an item in there about discussing budget requests. Obviously the 31st Street parking, we finally got a resiliency study. That thing was in there forever, and we think there's, we're gonna be in a position to probably pass a resolution in October. A lot of the things we were requesting were sort of already happening under other guises. But we now are aware of those projects, so we can support them in a different way. So I think we're gonna talk about it, but I think we can probably move that one as well. And then fortuitously, the DDC will actually be at the meeting now. As of today, the DDC will be at land use on the 29th to talk about the pension plan. So we might be able to remove that.
I haven't quite confirmed yet.
Okay, DDC may be there to talk about the pinch point. So we're gonna have to talk about budget stuff. We're gonna look at 599 Lexington Avenue, which is the plaza right there at 53rd Street, 52nd, 53rd on Lex, which is the E and 5th train station there. They're doing some pedestrian improvements, and we wanna take a look at them as a committee. When I teamed up over the summer, talked about MSBI a little bit. I think we can bring this to a close with a resolution, or something of a close. There is a position we can take, and I can send you what we came up with before the meeting. And this is something actually, well, before we ever touch a reso, probably housing should look at this too, but we want to look at faith-based affordable housing act. Obviously, we're not anywhere near a position to do a reso in September. I think there's gonna be a lot of opinions and feelings about this bill. I did call Senator Gonzalez's office, because she is a co-sponsor of the Senate version, and asked if maybe somebody from her office would be willing to come and talk about it. There's still unconfirmed at this point. But I suspect that there's gonna be lots of opinions and lots of questions, so I don't want to do anything concrete with that. I just want to sort of bring some sunshine to the topic. And that is that.
Okay, youth and education.
Okay, well, we haven't met yet. Our first meeting is October 28th. And this is the first meeting that I'm planning, so I would welcome your comments and suggestions. But, what I wanted to do is we have, two new committee members. So I wanted to spend some time just doing, introductions and talking about like, you know, what we bring, the experience we bring to this committee, the related experience. And talking about issues that different people are interested in working on the committee. And then at our last full board meeting, we had a person come and talk about, I think it was two people, talked about their concerns about what was happening with the transfer of the Sauk School to the west side. So I wanted to talk about, you know, how we're going to learn more about that issue to, you know, develop a plan. And I also wanted to talk about the, you know, the resources that we have to learn about the schools and the students. And I should include end youth who, you know, either live or go to school in our community district. And then the other thing is, we should talk about dates because November and December meetings are both really close to Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I'm really worried, given that, you know, our first meeting is the end of October.
Is it the third Thursday? Is that the third?
It's the fourth Tuesday of each month, so
That's Christmas.
November is November 25th.
Yeah.
And December is December 23rd.
Yeah.
So it's like for some.
Yeah.
Before we even get
Bringing
started.
each other gifts. Good committee.
So, and, you know, certainly committees, the date and the time of the committee is usually up to the chair. So
Oh, okay.
if there's a consensus to move to it's, you know, once people are assigned to the committee, they sort of try and set that date aside, but it's certainly up
Okay.
for discussion.
Yeah. All right, so we're free to select any
Yeah.
meeting time. Great. So that will definitely be on the agenda.
Thank you. And you know, I've always wondered, like with youth and education, do we actually have a list of like all the schools? all
I
the-
started to try to put one together.
Yeah, and I guess that's the discussion
Yeah.
of the resources.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit hard to
We have
do
help.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, great, excellent,
Reach out to Brendan about that.
excellent.
And then other things
Yeah.
that are available for youth in our district, like that's also a good question.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe the Department of Youth and Community Development. I know that they do a survey of
Yeah.
youth in the city. I don't know if they can break it down by community district.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay. All right, that would be.
Yeah, just any resources that you can think of. Okay, business affairs and licensing, Anton.
Oh. The agenda's still being worked on.
9 this month, right? So far. Are we up to more today?
So far, still 9.
9.
I would expect that the week before, the Monday before, we'll get a whole bunch from DOT, so we'll work on that. Nothing else. We did have a meeting last night, an informal meeting talking about ways to streamline our meetings in person. That work we have to put in beforehand and try to implement for the next meeting, and maybe it won't go on for 3 or 4 hours, maybe a couple hours, which I think is more reasonable.
There was discussion of bundling at the committee.
I type.
Bundling within a single resolution or just bundling a bunch of
A
resolutions?
bunch of establishments that were very similar that people had already reviewed and
And them into a single result.
and I still think it will be individual resos, but
So when we vote at full board, like we'll just bundle like all of those?
we actually there were some that were bundled.
Yeah, like last meeting, like what we did last meeting, kind of like that, okay.
Some lend themselves well to that, others don't.
Yeah, depending.
And we'll make a decision before the meeting, and go through it. And the other thing is we're still looking our way through OCM's reinterpretation of distance requirements. And the other thing we see also is that people are not filling out the applications, the DOT, as rigorously as they should. And that brings up questions, and these questions waste time. So not only for DOT applications, but also for the SLA questionnaire. And I think we decided that when we send out the questionnaire, we're gonna really put something there to the applicant, that please fill it out so as not to cause extraneous or questions when not necessary.
What, were you guys going to send us language? I thought that was my understanding.
Okay, yeah.
I think so, that was,
Yeah.
Do you mean that they're incomplete applications that they're?
Well, DOT is very specific. Do you have this? Yes, no. If you do have it, you fill this part out, and sometimes this doesn't happen.
I see.
And there are strict corridor requirements for sidewalk spacing. It's the regional neighborhood or whatever, and each have specific distances, 8, 10, and 12 feet. And sometimes you look at some of the schematics and you know they're not 8 feet or 10 feet or 11 feet or 12 feet, because the corridor requires more than they've put down in the schematic. So that means you gotta send it back to.
I see, okay.
And we do read these very carefully. And the stuff that goes to DOT is a legal document that goes as used by them. One thing I don't know whether we're gonna contact the DOT or not, but we get the application from DOT sometime on Mondays. And the meeting is Wednesday or Thursday. You get 10 or 12 of these on the beginning of the week. It's very difficult to go through. On the other hand, there are specific legal requirements in terms of timing that have to be done. It has to be done by a certain time. The one thing I think we talked a little bit about is that DOT sends us something. You kind of think that they would have read the applicant's application, because some of the issues we see are very egregious.
I see, okay.
Anyhow, I don't want to bitch and moan all night. It's other than that, I'll try to be more efficient.
okay, old or new business? One thing I did think of was charter revisions. We know that there's some very specific land use ones. And I think at this point, we're not supposed to be discussing what they are, but we can inform the public of what they are, but we don't take a stance. And so, that's in November. They'll be on the November ballot.
Once language is issued, once official language is issued, we can certainly put it in our newsletter or blasts. Yes, though.
And maybe I know like our planning consultant has very specific concerns, and maybe we invite him to come and explain.
The guidance from the law department is that community boards should only neutrally alert the public to what the initiatives are. And should not be using resources beyond that. So I would keep it at that.
So maybe it would be better to encourage everyone to read
The
materials on their own time. Right?
Yeah, okay. All right, well, if there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting. And seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:39.
Hey.